Hadīth 1. Narrated Imran bin Husayn, some people of Bani Tamim came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he said to them, O Bani Tamim, rejoice with glad tidings. They said, you have given us glad tidings, now give us something. On hearing that, the color of his face changed. Then the people of Yemen came to him and he said, O people of Yemen, accept the good tidings, as Bani Tamim has refused them. The Yemenites said, we accept them. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, started talking about the beginning of creation and about Allah's throne. In the meantime a man came saying, O Imran, your she-camel has run away. I got up and went away, but I wish I had not left that place, for I missed what Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had said. Hadīth 2. Narrated Imran bin Husayn, I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and tied my she-camel at the gate. The people of Bani Tamim came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who said, O Bani Tamim, accept the good tidings. They said twice, you have given us the good tidings, now give us something. Then some Yemenites came to him and he said, accept the good tidings, O people of Yemen, for Bani Tamim refused them. They said, we accept it, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. We have come to ask you about this matter, that is, the start of creation. He said, first of all, there was nothing but Allah, and then he created his throne. His throne was over the water, and he wrote everything in the book, in the heaven, and created the heavens and the earth. Then a man shouted, O Ibn Husayn, your she-camel has gone away. So, I went away and could not see the she-camel because of the mirage. By Allah, I wished I had left that she-camel, but not that gathering. Hadīth 3. Narrated Umar, one day the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up amongst us for a long period and informed us about the beginning of creation, and talked about everything in detail, till he mentioned how the people of paradise will enter their places and the people of hell will enter their places. Some remembered what he had said, and some forgot it. Hadīth 4. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah the Most Superior said, the son of Adam slights me, and he should not slight me, and he disbelieves in me, and he ought not to do so. As for his slighting me, it is that he says that I have a son, and his disbelief in me is his statement that I shall not recreate him as I have created him before. Hadīth 5. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when Allah completed the creation, he wrote in his book which is with him on his throne, my mercy overpowers my anger. Hadīth 6. Narrated Muhammad bin Ibrahim bin al-Harith, from Abu Salamah bin Abdur Rahman who had a dispute with some people on a piece of land, and so he went to Aisha and told her about it. She said, O Abu Salamah, avoid the land, for Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, any person who takes even a span of land unjustly, his neck shall be encircled with it down 7 earths. Hadīth 7. Narrated Salam's father, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, any person who takes a piece of land unjustly will sink down the 7 earths on the day of resurrection. Hadīth 8. Narrated Abu Bakr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the division of time has turned to its original form which was current when Allah created the heavens and the earths. The year is of 12 months, out of which 4 months are sacred, 3 are in succession, Dhul-Qa'dah, Dhul-Hijjah and Muharram, and, the 4th is, Rajab of, the tribe of, Mudar which comes between Jamada Ath-Thaniya and Sha'ban. Hadīth 9. Narrated Sa'id bin Zayd bin Amr bin Nufail, that Arwa sued him before Marwan for a right, which she claimed he had deprived her of. On that, Sa'id said, how should I deprive her of her right? I testify that I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, if anyone takes a span of land unjustly, his neck will be encircled with it down 7 earths on the day of resurrection. Hadīth 10. Narrated Abu Dhar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked me at sunset, "Do you know where the sun goes, at the time of sunset?" I replied, "Allah and His Apostle know better." He said, "It goes, that is, travels, till it prostrates itself underneath the throne and takes the permission to rise again, and it is permitted, and then, a time will come when, it will be about to prostrate itself but its prostration will not be accepted, and it will ask permission to go on its course but it will not be permitted, but it will be ordered to return whence it has come, and so it will rise in the west." And that is the interpretation of the statement of Allah, "And the sun runs its fixed course for a term, decreed." That is the decree of Allah, the Exalted in Might, the All-Knowing. Surah 36, Ayah 38. Hadīth 11. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The sun and the moon will be folded up, deprived of their light, on the day of resurrection." Hadīth 12. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The sun and the moon do not eclipse because of someone's death or life, that is, birth, but they are 2 signs amongst the signs of Allah. So, if you see them, that is, eclipse, offer the eclipse prayer." Hadīth 13. Narrated Abdullāh bin Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The sun and the moon are 2 signs amongst the signs of Allah. They do not eclipse because of someone's death or life. So, if you see them, that is, eclipse, celebrate the praises of Allah, that is, pray." Hadīth 14. Narrated Aisha, on the day of a solar eclipse, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up, to offer the eclipse prayer. He recited takbir, recited a long recitation, of holy verses, bowed a long bowing, and then he raised his head saying, "Allah hears him who sends his praises to him." Then he stayed standing, recited a long recitation again, but shorter than the former, bowed a long bowing, but shorter than the first, performed a long prostration and then performed the second rak'ah in the same way as he had done the first. By the time he had finished his prayer with taslim, the solar eclipse had been over. Then he addressed the people referring to the solar and lunar eclipses saying, "These are 2 signs amongst the signs of Allah, and they do not eclipse because of anyone's death or life. So, if you see them, hasten for the prayer." Hadīth 15. Narrated Abu Mas'ud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The sun and the moon do not eclipse because of the death or life of someone, but they are 2 signs amongst the signs of Allah. So, if you see them, offer the prayer of eclipse." Hadīth 16. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I have been made victorious with the Sabah, that is, easterly wind, and the people of Ad were destroyed with the Dabur, that is, westerly wind." Hadīth 17. Narrated Aisha said, "If the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw a cloud in the sky, he would walk to and fro in agitation, go out and come in, and the color of his face would change, and if it rained, he would feel relaxed." So Aisha knew that state of his. So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I don't know, am afraid, it may be similar to what happened to some people referred to in the Holy Quran in the following verse. Then when they saw it as a dense cloud coming towards their valleys, they said, 'This is a cloud bringing us rain.' Nay, but, it is that, torment, which you were asking to be hastened, a wind wherein is severe torment." Surah 46, Ayah 24. Hadīth 18. Narrated Malik bin Sa'sa, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "While I was at the house in a state midway between sleep and wakefulness, an angel recognized me, as the man lying between 2 men. A golden tray full of wisdom and belief was brought to me and my body was cut open from the throat to the lower part of the abdomen, and then my abdomen was washed with Zamzam water and, my heart was, filled with wisdom and belief. Al-Bukhārī, a white animal, smaller than a mule and bigger than a donkey was brought to me and I set out with Gabriel. When I reached the nearest heaven, Gabriel said to the heaven's gatekeeper, "Open the gate." The gatekeeper asked, "Who is it?" He said, "Gabriel." The gatekeeper asked, "Who is accompanying you?" Gabriel said, "Muhammad." The gatekeeper said, "Has he been called?" Gabriel said, "Yes." Then it was said, "He is welcomed. What a wonderful visit his is." Then I met Adam and greeted him and he said, "You are welcomed, O Son and Prophet." Then we ascended to the second heaven. It was asked, "Who is it?" Gabriel said, "Gabriel." It was said, "Who is with you?" He said, "Muhammad." It was asked, "Has he been sent for?" He said, "Yes." It was said, "He is welcomed. What a wonderful visit his is." Then I met Jesus and Yahya, John, who said, "You are welcomed, O brother and prophet." Then we ascended to the third heaven. It was asked, "Who is it?" Gabriel said, "Gabriel." It was asked, "Who is with you?" Gabriel said, "Muhammad." It was asked, "Has he been sent for?" "Yes," said Gabriel. It was said, "He is welcomed. What a wonderful visit his is." There I met Joseph and greeted him, and he replied, "You are welcomed, O brother and prophet." Then we ascended to the fourth heaven and again the same questions and answers were exchanged as in the previous heavens. There I met Idris and greeted him. He said, "You are welcomed, O brother and prophet." Then we ascended to the fifth heaven and again the same questions and answers were exchanged as in previous heavens. There I met and greeted Aaron, who said, "You are welcomed, O brother and prophet." Then we ascended to the sixth heaven and again the same questions and answers were exchanged as in the previous heavens. There I met and greeted Moses, who said, "You are welcomed, O brother and prophet." When I proceeded on, he started weeping and on being asked why he was weeping, he said, "O Lord, followers of this youth who was sent after me will enter paradise in greater number than my followers." Then we ascended to the seventh heaven and again the same questions and answers were exchanged as in the previous heavens. There I met and greeted Abraham, who said, "You are welcomed, O Son and Prophet." Then I was shown Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, that is, Allah's house. I asked Gabriel about it and he said, "This is Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur where 70,000 angels perform prayers daily, and when they leave they never return to it, but always a fresh batch comes into it daily." Then I was shown Surat Al-Fatiha, that is, a tree in the seventh heaven, and I saw its nubk fruits which resembled the clay jugs of Hajar, that is, a town in Arabia, and its leaves were like the ears of elephants, and 4 rivers originated at its root, 2 of them were apparent and 2 were hidden. I asked Gabriel about those rivers and he said, "The 2 hidden rivers are in paradise, and the apparent ones are the Nile and the Euphrates." Then 50 prayers were enjoined on me. I descended till I met Moses who asked me, "What have you done?" I said, 50 prayers have been enjoined on me." He said, "I know the people better than you, because I had the hardest experience to bring Bani Israel to obedience. Your followers cannot put up with such obligation. So, return to your Lord and request him to reduce the number of prayers." I returned and requested Allah for reduction, and he made it 40. I returned and met Moses, and had a similar discussion, and then returned again to Allah for reduction and he made it 30, then 20, then 10, and then I came to Moses who repeated the same advice. Ultimately, Allah reduced it to 5. When I came to Moses again, he said, "What have you done?" I said, "Allah has made it 5 only." He repeated the same advice, but I said that I surrendered to Allah's final order. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was addressed by Allah, "I have decreed my obligation and have reduced the burden on my slaves, and I shall reward a single good deed as if it were 10 good deeds." Hadīth 19. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, the true and truly inspired, said, the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days, and then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. Then Allah sends an angel who is ordered to write 4 things. He is ordered to write down his, that is, the new creature's, deeds, his livelihood, his date of death, and whether he will be blessed or wretched in religion. Then the soul is breathed into him. So, a man amongst you may do good deeds till there is only a cubit between him and paradise, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing evil deeds characteristic of the people of the hell fire. And similarly a man amongst you may do evil deeds till there is only a cubit between him and the hell fire, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing deeds characteristic of the people of paradise. Hadīth 20. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if Allah loves a person, he calls Gabriel saying, Allah loves so-and-so, O Gabriel. Love him. Gabriel would love him, and make an announcement amongst the inhabitants of the heaven, Allah loves so-and-so, therefore you should love him also, and so all the inhabitants of the heaven would love him, and then he is granted the pleasure of the people on the earth. Hadīth 21. Narrated Aisha, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, the angels descend to the clouds, and mention this or that matter decreed in the heaven. The devils listen stealthily to such a matter, come down to inspire the soothsayers with it, and the latter would add to it 100 lies of their own. Hadīth 22. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, on every Friday the angels take their stand at every gate of the mosque to write the names of the people chronologically, that is, according to the time of their arrival for the Friday prayer, and when the Imam sits on the pulpit, they fold up their scrolls and get ready to listen to the sermon. Hadīth 23. Narrated Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, Umar came to the mosque while Hassan was reciting a poem. Umar disapproved of that. On that, Hassan said, I used to recite poetry in this very mosque in the presence of one, that is, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who was better than you. Then he turned towards Abu Hurairah and said, to him, I ask you by Allah, did you hear Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, to me, retort on my behalf. O Allah! Support him, that is, Hassan, with the Holy Spirit? Abu Hurairah said, yes. Hadīth 24. Narrated Al-Barā, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to Hassan, lampoon them, that is, the pagans, and Gabriel is with you. Hadīth 25. Narrated Jarir, as below. Narrated Humayd bin Hilal, Anas bin Malik said, as if I see a cloud of dust swirling up in the lane of Bani Ghanim. Musa added, that was caused by the procession of Gabriel. Hadīth 26. Narrated Aisha, Al-Harith bin Hisham asked the Prophet, how does the divine inspiration come to you? He replied, in all these ways, the angel sometimes comes to me with a voice which resembles the sound of a ringing bell, and when this state abandons me, I remember what the angel has said, and this type of divine inspiration is the hardest on me, and sometimes the angel comes to me in the shape of a man and talks to me, and I understand and remember what he says. Hadīth 27. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, whoever spends a couple of objects in Allah's cause will be called by the gatekeepers of paradise who will say, O so-and-so, come on. Abu Bakr said, such a person will never perish or be miserable. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I hope you will be among such persons. Hadīth 28. Narrated Abu Salama, Aisha said that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to her, O Aisha, this is Gabriel and he sends his greetings, salutations to you. Aisha said, salutations, greetings, to him, and Allah's mercy and blessings be on him, and addressing the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, she said, You see what I don't see. Hadith 29. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, asked Gabriel, Why don't you visit us more often than you do? Then the following holy verse was revealed, in this respect, and we, angels, descend not but by the order of your Lord. To him belongs what is before us and what is behind us, and what is between those two, and your Lord was never forgetful. Surah 19, Ayah 64. Hadith 30. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Gabriel read the Quran to me in one way, that is, dialect, and I continued asking him to read it in different ways till he read it in 7 different ways. Hadith 31. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was the most generous of all the people, and he used to be more generous in the month of Ramadan when Gabriel used to meet him. Gabriel used to meet him every night in Ramadan to study the Holy Quran carefully together. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to become more generous than the fast wind when he met Gabriel. Hadith 32. Narrated Ibn Shihab, once Umar bin Abdul Aziz delayed the Asr prayer a little. Urwa said to him, Gabriel descended and led the prayer in front of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. On that, Umar said, O Urwa, be sure of what you say. Urwa said, I heard Bashir bin Abi Mas'ud narrating from Ibn Mas'ud who heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, Gabriel descended and led me in prayer, and then I prayed with him again, and then prayed with him again, and then prayed with him again, and then prayed with him again, counting with his fingers 5 prayers. Hadith 33. Narrated Abu Darr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Gabriel said to me, Whoever amongst your followers dies without having worshipped others besides Allah, will enter paradise, or will not enter the hell fire. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, Even if he has committed illegal sexual intercourse or theft? He replied, Even then. Hadith 34. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Angels keep on descending from and ascending to the heaven in turn, some at night and some by daytime, and all of them assemble together at the time of the Fajr and Asr prayers. Then those who have stayed with you overnight, ascend unto Allah who asks them, and he knows the answer better than they, How have you left my slaves? They reply, We have left them praying, as we found them praying. If any one of you says, Amin, during the prayer at the end of the recitation of Surat Al-Fatiha, and the angels in heaven say the same, and the two sayings coincide, all his past sins will be forgiven. Hadith 35. Narrated Aisha, I stuffed for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, a pillow decorated with pictures, of animals, which looked like a namruka, that is, a small cushion. He came and stood between the 2 doors and his face began to change. I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. What did we do wrong? He said, What is this pillow? I said, I have prepared this pillow for you, so that you may recline on it. He said, Don't you know that angels do not enter a house wherein there are pictures, and whoever makes a picture will be punished on the day of resurrection and will be asked to give life to what he has created? Hadith 36. Narrated Abu Talha, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, Angels, of mercy, do not enter a house wherein there is a dog or a picture of a living creature, a human being or an animal. Hadith 37. Narrated Busr bin Sa'id, that Zayd bin Khalid al-Juhani narrated to him something in the presence of Sa'id bin Ubaydullah al-Kawlani, who was brought up in the house of Maymuna, the wife of the Prophet. Zayd narrated to them that Abu Talha said that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The angels, of mercy, do not enter a house wherein there is a picture. Busr said, Later on, Zayd bin Khalid fell ill and we called on him. To our surprise, we saw a curtain decorated with pictures in his house. I said to Ubaydullah al-Kawlani, didn't he, that is, Zayd, tell us about the prohibition of pictures? He said, but he accepted the embroidery on garments. Didn't you hear him? I said, no. He said, yes, he did. Hadith 38. Narrated Salam's father, once Gabriel promised the Prophet that he would visit him, but Gabriel did not come, and later on he said, we, angels, do not enter a house which contains a picture or a dog. Hadith 39. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when the Imam, during the prayer, says, Allah hears him who praises him, say, O Allah, our Lord, all the praises are for you, for if the saying of any one of you coincides with the saying of the angels, his past sins will be forgiven. Hadith 40. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, as long as any one of you is waiting for the prayer, he is considered to be praying actually, and the angels say, O Allah, be merciful to him and forgive him, and go on saying so, unless he leaves his place of praying or passes wind, that is, breaks his ablution. Hadith 41. Narrated Ya Allah, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, reciting the following verse on the pulpit, they will call, O Malik. And Sufyan said that Abdullāh recited it, they will call, O Mali. Surah 43, Ayah 77. Hadith 42. Narrated Aisha, that she asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, have you encountered a day harder than the day of the battle of Uhud? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, your tribes have troubled me a lot, and the worst trouble was the trouble on the day of Aqaba, when I presented myself to Ibn Abd Yalayl bin Abd Kulal and he did not respond to my demand. So I departed, overwhelmed with excessive sorrow, and proceeded on, and could not relax till I found myself at Qarn Ath-Thalib, where I lifted my head towards the sky to see a cloud shading me unexpectedly. I looked up and saw Gabriel in it. He called me, saying, Allah has heard your people saying to you, and what they have replied back to you. Allah has sent the angel of the mountains to you so that you may order him to do whatever you wish to these people. The angel of the mountains called and greeted me, and then said, O Muhammad, order what you wish. If you like, I will let al-Akshabain, that is, 2 mountains, fall on them. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no, but I hope that Allah will let them beget children who will worship Allah alone, and will worship none besides him. Hadith 43. Narrated Abu Ishaq ash-Shaybani, I asked Zuhr bin Hubaysh regarding the statement of Allah, and was at a distance of but 2 bow lengths or, even, nearer, so did Allah convey the inspiration to his slave, Gabriel, and then he, Gabriel, conveyed that to Muhammad, Surah 53, Ayat 9-10. On that, Zuhr said, Ibn Mas'ud informed us that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had seen Gabriel having 600 wings. Hadith 44. Narrated Abdullāh, regarding the verse, indeed he, Muhammad, did see of the signs of his Lord, the greatest. Surah 53, Ayah 18, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had seen a green carpet spread all over the horizon of the sky. Hadith 45. Narrated Aisha, whoever claimed that, the Prophet, Muhammad saw his Lord, is committing a great fault, for he only saw Gabriel in his genuine shape in which he was created covering the whole horizon. Hadith 46. Narrated Masruq, I asked Aisha, what about his statement, then he, Gabriel, approached and came closer, and was at a distance of but 2 bow lengths or, even, nearer. Surah 53, Ayat 8-9. She replied, it was Gabriel who used to come to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the figure of a man, but on that occasion, he came in his actual and real figure and, he was so huge, that he covered the whole horizon. Hadith 47. Narrated Samurah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Last night I saw, in a dream, 2 men coming to me. One of them said, The person who kindles the fire is Malik, the gatekeeper of the hell fire, and I am Gabriel, and this is Michael. Hadīth 48. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If a husband calls his wife to his bed, that is, to have sexual relation, and she refuses and causes him to sleep in anger, the angels will curse her till morning. Hadīth 49. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, that he heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, The divine inspiration was delayed for a short period, but suddenly, as I was walking, I heard a voice in the sky, and when I looked up towards the sky, to my surprise, I saw the angel who had come to me in the Hira cave, and he was sitting on a chair in between the sky and the earth. I was so frightened by him that I fell on the ground and came to my family and said, to them, Cover me. With a blanket, cover me. Then Allah sent the revelation, Oh, you wrapped up, in a blanket. Arise and warn. And your Lord magnify. And keep pure your garments, and desert the idols. Surah 74, Ayat 1-5. Hadīth 50. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, On the night of my ascent to the heaven, I saw Moses, who was a tall brown curly-haired man, as if he was one of the men of Shanuah tribe, and I saw Jesus, a man of medium height and moderate complexion, inclined to the red and white colors and of lank hair. I also saw Malik, the gatekeeper of the hell fire, and Ad-Dajjal amongst the signs which Allah showed me. The Prophet then recited the holy verse, So be not you in doubt of meeting him, when you met Moses during the night of Miraj over the heavens, Surah 32, Ayah 23. Narrated Anas and Abu Bakr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The angels will guard Medina from Ad-Dajjal, who will not be able to enter the city of Medina. Hadīth 51. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, When any one of you dies, he will be shown his destination both in the morning and in the evening, and if he belongs to the people of paradise, he will be shown his place in paradise, and if he is from the people of hell, he will be shown his place in hell. Hadīth 52. Narrated Imran bin Husayn, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I looked at paradise and found poor people forming the majority of its inhabitants, and I looked at hell and saw that the majority of its inhabitants were women. Hadīth 53. Narrated Abu Hurairah, while we were in the company of the Prophet, he said, While I was asleep, I saw myself in paradise, and there I beheld a woman making ablution beside a palace. I asked, To whom does this palace belong? They said, To Umar bin al-Khattab. Then I remembered Umar's gairah, concerning women, and so I quickly went away from that palace. When Umar heard this from the Prophet, he wept and said, Do you think it is likely that I feel gairah because of you, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? Hadīth 54. Narrated Abdullāh bin Qais al-Ash'ari, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, A tent, in paradise, is like a hollow pearl which is 30 miles in height, and on every corner of the tent the believer will have a family that cannot be seen by the others. Narrated Abu Imran in another narration, the tent is 60 miles in height. Hadīth 55. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah said, I have prepared for my pious slaves things which have never been seen by an eye, or heard by an ear, or imagined by a human being. If you wish, you can recite this verse from the Holy Quran, No soul knows what is kept hidden for them of joy, as a reward for what they used to do. Surah 32, Ayah 17. Hadīth 56. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The first group of people who will enter paradise will be glittering, like the moon when it is full. They will not spit or blow their noses or relieve nature. Their utensils will be of gold and their combs of gold and silver, in their centers the aloes wood will be used, and their sweat will smell like musk. Every one of them will have 2 wives, the marrow of the bones of the wives' legs will be seen through the flesh out of excessive beauty. They, that is, the people of paradise, will neither have differences nor hatred amongst themselves, their hearts will be as if one heart and they will be glorifying Allah in the morning and in the evening. Hadīth 57. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the first batch of people who will enter paradise will be glittering like a full moon, and those who will enter next will be glittering like the brightest star. Their hearts will be as if the heart of a single man, for they will have no enmity amongst themselves, and every one of them shall have 2 wives, each of whom will be so beautiful, pure and transparent that the marrow of the bones of their legs will be seen through the flesh. They will be glorifying Allah in the morning and evening, and will never fall ill, and they will neither blow their noses, nor spit. Their utensils will be of gold and silver, and their combs will be of gold, and the fuel used in their centers will be the aloes wood, and their sweat will smell like musk. Hadīth 58. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'd, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, verily, 70,000 or 700,000 of my followers will enter paradise altogether, so that the first and the last amongst them will enter at the same time, and their faces will be glittering like the bright full moon. Hadīth 59. Narrated Anas bin Malik, a silken cloak was presented to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he used to forbid the usage of silk by men. When the people were fascinated by the cloak, he said, by Allah in whose hands the life of Muhammad is, the handkerchiefs of Sa'd bin Mu'adh in paradise are better than this. Hadīth 60. Narrated Al-Barā bin Azib, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was given a silken garment, and its beauty and delicacy astonished the people. On that, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no doubt, the handkerchiefs of Sa'd bin Mu'adh in paradise are better than this. Hadīth 61. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'd as-Sa'idi, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a place in paradise equal to the size of a lash is better than the whole world and whatever is in it. Hadīth 62. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is a tree in paradise, which is so big and huge that, if a rider travels in its shade for 100 years, he would not be able to cross it. Hadīth 63. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is a tree in paradise, which is so big and huge that, a rider could travel in its shade for 100 years. And if you wish, you can recite, in shade long extended. Surah 56, Ayah 30, and a place in paradise equal to an arrow bow of one of you, is better than, the whole earth, on which the sun rises and sets. Hadīth 64. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the first batch of people who will enter paradise will be glittering like the full moon, and the batch next to them will be glittering like the most brilliant star in the sky. Their hearts will be as if the heart of a single man, for they will have neither enmity nor jealousy amongst themselves. Everyone will have 2 wives from the houris, who will be so beautiful, pure and transparent that, the marrow of the bones of their legs will be seen through the bones and the flesh. Hadīth 65. Narrated Al-Barā bin Azib, the Prophet, after the death of his son Ibrahim, said, there is a wet nurse for him, that is, Ibrahim, in paradise. Hadīth 66. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the people of paradise will look at the dwellers of the lofty mansions, that is, a superior place in paradise, in the same way as one looks at a brilliant star far away in the east or in the west on the horizon, all that is because of their superiority over one another, in rewards. On that, the people said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Are these lofty mansions for the prophets which nobody else can reach? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, No. By Allah in whose hands my life is, these are for the men who believed in Allah and also believed in the apostles. Hadith 67. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'd, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Paradise has 8 gates, and one of them is called ar-Rayyan, through which none will enter but those who observe fasting. Hadith 68. Narrated Abu Dar, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was on a journey, he said, regarding the performance of the Zuhr prayer, wait till it, that is, the weather, gets cooler. He said the same again till the shade of the hillocks extended. Then he said, delay the Zuhr prayer till it gets cooler, for the severity of heat is from the increase in heat of hell, fire. Hadith 69. Narrated Abu Sa'id, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, delay the Zuhr prayer till it gets cooler, for the severity of heat is from the increase in the heat of hell, fire. Hadith 70. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hell fire complained to its Lord, saying, O my Lord, my different parts eat up each other. So, he allowed it to take 2 breaths, one in the winter and the other in summer, and this is the reason for the severe heat and the bitter cold you find in weather. Hadith 71. Narrated Abu Jamrah ad-Dubai, I used to sit with Ibn Abbas in Makkah. Once I had a fever and he said to me, cool your fever with Zamzam water, for Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the fever, is from the heat of the hell fire, so, cool it with water, or Zamzam water. Hadith 72. Narrated Rafi bin Khadij, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, fever is from the heat of the hell fire, so cool it with water. Hadith 73. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, fever is from the heat of the hell fire, so cool it with water. Hadith 74. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, fever is from the heat of the hell fire, so abate fever with water. Hadith 75. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, your ordinary fire is one of 70 parts of the hell fire. Someone asked, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. This ordinary fire would have been sufficient to torture the unbelievers. Allah's Apostle said, the hell fire has 69 parts more than the ordinary worldly fire, each part is as hot as this worldly fire. Hadith 76. Narrated Ya'la, that he heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on the pulpit reciting, they will cry, O Malik. Surah 43, Ayah 77. Malik is the gatekeeper, angel, of the hell fire. Hadith 77. Narrated Abu Wa'il, somebody said to Usama, will you go to so-and-so, that is, Uthman, and talk to him, that is, advise him regarding ruling the country? He said, you see that I don't talk to him. Really, I talk to, advise, him secretly without opening a gate of affliction, for neither do I want to be the first to open it, that is, rebellion, nor will I say to a man who is my ruler that he is the best of all the people after I have heard something from Allah's Apostle. They said, what have you heard him saying? He said, I have heard him saying, a man will be brought on the day of resurrection and thrown in the hell fire, so that his intestines will come out, and he will go around like a donkey goes around a millstone. The people of hell fire will gather around him and say, O so-and-so, what is wrong with you? Didn't you use to order us to do good deeds and forbid us to do bad deeds? He will reply, yes, I used to order you to do good deeds, but I did not do them myself, and I used to forbid you to do bad deeds, yet I used to do them myself. Hadīth 78. Narrated Aisha, magic was worked on the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, so that he began to fancy that he was doing a thing which he was not actually doing. One day, he invoked Allah for a long period and then said, I feel that Allah has inspired me as how to cure myself. Two persons came to me, in my dream, and sat, one by my head and the other by my feet. One of them asked the other, What is the ailment of this man? The other replied, He has been bewitched. The first asked, Who has bewitched him? The other replied, Labid bin al-Asam. The first one asked, What material has he used? The other replied, A comb, the hair gathered on it, and the outer skin of the pollen of the male date palm. The first asked, Where is that? The other replied, It is in the well of Darwan. So, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went out towards the well and then returned and said to me on his return, Its date palms, the date palms near the well, are like the heads of the devils. I asked, Did you take out those things with which the magic was worked? He said, No, for I have been cured by Allah, and I am afraid that this action may spread evil amongst the people. Later on, the well was filled up with earth. Hadīth 79. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, During your sleep, Satan knots 3 knots at the back of the head of each of you, and he breathes the following words at each knot, The night is long, so keep on sleeping. If that person wakes up and celebrates the praises of Allah, then 1 knot is undone, and when he performs ablution the 2nd knot is undone, and when he prays, all the knots are undone, and he gets up in the morning lively and in good spirits, otherwise he gets up in low spirits and lethargic. Hadīth 80. Narrated Abdullāh, it was mentioned before the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that there was a man who slept the night till morning, after sunrise. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, He is a man in whose ears, or ear, Satan had urinated. Hadīth 81. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If any one of you, when having sexual relation with his wife, says, In the name of Allah. O Allah! Protect us from Satan, and prevent Satan from approaching our offspring you are going to give us, and if he begets a child, as a result of that relation, Satan will not harm it. Hadīth 82. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, When the upper edge of the sun appears, in the morning, don't perform a prayer till the sun appears in full, and when the lower edge of the sun sets, don't perform a prayer till it sets completely. And you should not seek to pray at sunrise or sunset, for the sun rises between 2 sides of the head of the devil, or Satan. Hadīth 83. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If while you are praying, somebody intends to pass in front of you, prevent him, and should he insist, prevent him again, and if he insists again, fight with him, that is, prevent him violently, for example, pushing him violently, because such a person is, like, a devil. Hadīth 84. Narrated Muhammad bin Sirin, Abu Hurairah said, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, put me in charge of the zakat of Ramadan, that is, zakat ul-fitr. Someone came to me and started scooping some of the foodstuff of zakat with both hands. I caught him and told him that I would take him to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Then Abu Hurairah told the whole narration and added, He, that is, the thief, said, Whenever you go to your bed, recite the verse of Al-Kursi, Surah 2, Ayah 255, for then a guardian from Allah will be guarding you, and Satan will not approach you till dawn. On that, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, He told you the truth, though he is a liar, and he, the thief, himself was the Satan. Hadīth 85. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Satan comes to one of you and says, Who created so and so, till he says, Who has created your Lord? So, when he inspires such a question, one should seek refuge with Allah and give up such thoughts. Hadith 86. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when the month of Ramadan comes, the gates of paradise are opened and the gates of the hell fire are closed, and the devils are chained. Hadith 87. Narrated Ubay ibn Ka'b, that he heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, the Prophet, Moses said to his attendant, bring us our early meal, Surah 18, Ayah 62. The latter said, did you remember when we betook ourselves to the rock? I indeed forgot the fish and none but Satan made me forget to remember it. Surah 18, Ayah 63. Moses did not feel tired till he had crossed the place which Allah ordered him to go to. Hadith 88. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, pointing towards the east saying, lo! Afflictions will verily emerge hence, afflictions will verily emerge hence where the side of the head of Satan appears. Hadith 89. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when night falls, then keep your children close to you, for the devils spread out then. An hour later you can let them free, and close the gates of your house, at night, and mention Allah's name thereupon, and cover your utensils, and mention Allah's name thereupon, and if you don't have something to cover your utensil, you may put across it something, for example, a piece of wood etc. Hadith 90. Narrated Ṣaḥīḥ bint Huyay, while Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was in i'tikaf, I called on him at night and having had a talk with him, I got up to depart. He got up also to accompany me to my dwelling place, which was then in the house of Usama bin Zayd. Two Ansari men passed by, and when they saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, they hastened away. The Prophet said to them, don't hurry. It is Ṣaḥīḥ, the daughter of Huyay, that is, my wife. They said, glorified be Allah. O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. How dare we suspect you? He said, Satan circulates in the human mind as blood circulates in it, and I was afraid that Satan might throw an evil thought, or something, into your hearts. Hadith 91. Narrated Sulaiman bin Surad, while I was sitting in the company of the Prophet, two men abused each other and the face of one of them became red with anger, and his jugular veins swelled, that is, he became furious. On that, the Prophet said, I know a word, the saying of which will cause him to relax, if he does say it. If he says, I seek refuge with Allah from Satan, then all his anger will go away. Somebody said to him, the Prophet has said, seek refuge with Allah from Satan. The angry man said, am I mad? Hadith 92. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if any one of you, on having sexual relation with his wife, says, O Allah, protect me from Satan, and prevent Satan from approaching the offspring you are going to give me, and if it happens that the lady conceives a child, Satan will neither harm it nor be given power over it. Hadith 93. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered a prayer, and, after finishing, he said, Satan came in front of me trying persistently to divert my attention from the prayer, but Allah gave me the strength to overpower him. Hadith 94. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when the call for the prayer is pronounced, Satan takes to his heels, passing wind with noise. When the call for the prayer is finished, he comes back. And when the Iqamah is pronounced, he again takes to his heels, and after its completion, he returns again to interfere between the praying person and his heart, saying to him, remember this or that thing, till the person forgets whether he has offered 3 or 4 rakat. So if one forgets whether he has prayed 3 or 4 rakat, he should perform 2 prostrations of sahu, that is, forgetfulness. Hadith 95. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when any human being is born, Satan touches him at both sides of the body with his 2 fingers, except Jesus, the son of Mary, whom Satan tried to touch but failed, for he touched the placenta cover instead. Hadith 96. Narrated Ulqamah, I went to Sham, and asked, Who is here? The people said, Abu ad-Darda. Abu Darda said, Is the person whom Allah has protected against Satan, as Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, amongst you? The sub-narrator, Mughira, said that the person who was given Allah's refuge through the tongue of the Prophet was Ammar bin Yasir. Hadith 97. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, While the angels talk amidst the clouds about things that are going to happen on earth, the devils hear a word of what they say and pour it in the ears of a soothsayer as one pours something in a bottle, and they add 100 lies to that, one word. Hadith 98. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Yawning is from Satan, and if any one of you yawns, he should check his yawning as much as possible, for if any one of you, during the act of yawning, should say, Ha, Satan will laugh at him. Hadith 99. Narrated Aisha, on the day of the battle of Uhud, when the pagans were defeated, Satan shouted, O slaves of Allah! Beware of the forces at your back, and on that the Muslims of the front files fought with the Muslims of the back files, thinking they were pagans. Hudayfah looked back to see his father, Yaman, being attacked by the Muslims. He shouted, O Allah's slaves! My father! My father! By Allah, they did not stop till they killed him. Hudayfah said, May Allah forgive you. Urwa said that Hudayfah continued to do good, invoking Allah to forgive the killer of his father till he met Allah, that is, died. Hadith 100. Narrated Aisha, I asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about one's looking here and there during the prayer. He replied, It is what Satan steals from the prayer of any one of you. Hadith 101. Narrated Abu Qatada, as below. Narrated Abu Qatada, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, A good dream is from Allah, and a bad or evil dream is from Satan, so if any one of you has a bad dream of which he gets afraid, he should spit on his left side and should seek refuge with Allah from its evil, for then it will not harm him. Hadith 102. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, If one says 100 times in one day, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, the alone who has no partners, to him belongs dominion and to him belong all the praises, and he has power over all things, that is, omnipotent. One will get the reward of manumitting 10 slaves, and 100 good deeds will be written in his account, and 100 bad deeds will be wiped off or erased from his account, and on that day he will be protected from the morning till evening from Satan, and nobody will be superior to him except one who has done more than that which he has done. Hadith 103. Narrated Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, once Umar asked the leave to see Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in whose company there were some Qurayshi women who were talking to him and asking him for more financial support, raising their voices. When Umar asked permission to enter, the women got up, quickly, hurrying to screen themselves. When Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, admitted Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was smiling. Umar asked, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. May Allah keep you in happiness always. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I am astonished at these women who were with me. As soon as they heard your voice, they hastened to screen themselves. Umar said, O Allah's Apostle, you have more right to be feared by them. Then he addressed those women, saying, O enemies of your own souls! Do you fear me and not Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? They replied, Yes, for you are a fearful and fierce man as compared with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. On that, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, to Umar, by him in whose hands my life is, whenever Satan sees you taking a path, he follows a path other than yours. Hadith 104. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if any one of you rouses from sleep and performs the ablution, he should wash his nose by putting water in it and then blowing it out thrice, because Satan has stayed in the upper part of his nose all the night. Hadith 105. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Abdullāh bin Abdur Rahman bin Abi Sa'sa al-Ansari, that Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said to his father, I see you are fond of sheep and the desert, so when you want to pronounce the adhan, raise your voice with it, for whoever will hear the adhan, whether a human being, or a jinn, or anything else, will bear witness in favor on the day of resurrection. Abu Sa'id added, I have heard this from Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 106. Narrated Ibn Umar, that he heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, delivering a sermon on the pulpit saying, kill snakes and kill du at-tifyatain, that is, a snake with 2 white lines on its back, and al-abtar, that is, a snake with short or mutilated tail, for they destroy the sight of one's eyes and bring about abortion. Abdullāh bin Umar further added, once while I was chasing a snake in order to kill it, Abu Lubaba called me saying, don't kill it. I said, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered us to kill snakes. He said, but later on he prohibited the killing of snakes living in the houses. Az-Zuhri said, such snakes are called al-awamir. Hadith 107. Narrated Ibn Umar, Abu Lubaba and Zayd bin Khattab saw me. Hadith 108. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there will come a time when the best property of a man will be sheep which he will graze on the tops of mountains and the places where rain falls, that is, pastures, escaping to protect his religion from afflictions. Hadith 109. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the main source of disbelief is in the east. Pride and arrogance are characteristics of the owners of horses and camels, and those Bedouins who are busy with their camels and pay no attention to religion, while modesty and gentleness are the characteristics of the owners of sheep. Hadith 110. Narrated Uqbah bin Umar and Abu Masud, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, pointed with his hand towards Yemen and said, true belief is Yemenite, towards here, that is, the Yemenites had true belief and embraced Islam readily. Certainly sternness and mercilessness are the qualities of those who are loud, and at the base of the tails of camels, where the 2 horns of Satan will appear. Such qualities belong to the tribes of Rabi'ah and Mudar. Hadith 111. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when you hear the crowing of roosters, ask for Allah's blessings, for their crowing indicates that they have seen an angel. And when you hear the braying of donkeys, seek refuge with Allah from Satan, for their braying indicates that they have seen a Satan. Hadith 112. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when night falls, or it is evening, keep your children close to you, for the devils spread out at that time. But when an hour of the night elapses, you can let them free. Close the doors and mention the name of Allah, for Satan does not open a closed door. Hadith 113. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a group of Israelites were lost. Nobody knows what they did. But I do not see them except that they were cursed and changed into rats, for if you put the milk of a she-camel in front of a rat, it will not drink it, but if the milk of a sheep is put in front of it, it will drink it. I told this to Ka'b, who asked me, did you hear it from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him? I said, yes. Ka'b asked me the same question several times. I said to Ka'b, do I read the Torah? That is, I tell you this from the Prophet. Hadith 114. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called the salamander a mischief doer. I have not heard him ordering that it should be killed. Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas claims that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that it should be killed. Hadith 115. Narrated Sharik, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered her to kill salamanders. Hadith 116. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Kill the snake with 2 white lines on its back, for it blinds the onlooker and causes abortion." Hadith 117. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that a short-tailed or mutilated-tailed snake, that is, abtar, should be killed, for it blinds the onlooker and causes abortion. Hadith 118. Narrated Abu Mulaika, Ibn Umar used to kill snakes, but afterwards he forbade their killing and said, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, pulled down a wall and saw a cast-off skin of a snake in it. He said, "Look for the snake." They found it and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Kill it. For this reason I used to kill snakes." Later on, I met Abu Lubaba who told me the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Do not kill snakes except the short-tailed or mutilated-tailed snake with 2 white lines on its back, for it causes abortion and makes one blind. So kill it." Hadith 119. Narrated Nafi, Ibn Umar used to kill snakes, but when Abu Lubaba informed him that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had forbidden the killing of snakes living in houses, he gave up killing them. Hadith 120. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 5 kinds of animals are mischief doers and can be killed even in the sanctuary. They are the rat, the scorpion, the kite, a type of predatory bird, the crow, and the rabid dog. Hadith 121. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "It is not sinful of a person in the state of ihram to kill any of these 5 animals, the scorpion, the rat, the rabid dog, the crow, and the kite." Hadith 122. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Cover your utensils and tie your water skins, and close your doors and keep your children close to you at night, as the jinn spread out at such time and snatch things away. When you go to bed, put out your lights, for the mischief doer, that is, the rat, may drag away the wick of the candle and burn the dwellers of the house." Atta said, "The devils, instead of the jinns." Hadith 123. Narrated Abdullah, once we were in the company of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in a cave. Surah Al-Mursalat, Surah 77, was revealed there, and we were learning it from Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Suddenly a snake came out of its hole and we rushed towards it to kill it, but it hastened and entered its hole before we were able to catch it. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "It has been saved from your evil and you have been saved from its evil." Hadith 124. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A woman entered the hell fire because of a cat which she had tied, neither giving it food nor setting it free to eat from the vermin of the earth." Hadith 125. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Once, while a prophet amongst the prophets was taking a rest underneath a tree, an ant bit him. He, therefore, ordered that his luggage be taken away from underneath that tree and then ordered that the dwelling place of the ants should be set on fire. Allah sent him a revelation, wouldn't it have been sufficient to burn a single ant that bit you?" Hadith 126. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "If a housefly falls in the drink of any one of you, he should dip it in the drink, and take it out, for one of its wings has a disease and the other has the cure for the disease." Hadith 127. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a prostitute was forgiven by Allah because, passing by a panting dog near a well and seeing that the dog was about to die of thirst, she took off her shoe, and tying it with her head cover she drew out some water for it. So, Allah forgave her because of that. Hadith 128. Narrated Abu Talha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, angels do not enter a house that has either a dog or a picture in it. Hadith 129. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that the dogs should be killed. Hadith 130. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if somebody keeps a dog, he loses 1 qirat of the reward of his good deeds every day, except if he keeps it for the purpose of agriculture or for the protection of livestock. Hadith 131. Narrated Sufyan bin Abi Zuhair ash-Shana'i, that he heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, if somebody keeps a dog that is neither used for farm work nor for guarding the livestock, he will lose 1 qirat of the reward of his good deeds every day.